In this video, we're going to create the Zap for updating the email sequence. The first thing we want to do is make the Zap, and the trigger will be Podio. We'll select New Action Type for the trigger. And then for the connection, we'll scroll down and use our Podio connection that we've been using. Test it out. If you don't have a Podio connection set up already, click this button to help you set that up. And now we'll select the Podio Organization Workspace application and action type. So for me, it's Struggling Investor. Workspace is SID Manager Tutorial. Application is Properties. And in the field, we want to make sure we only update this, run this Zap if the Choose Email Sequence field has been changed. So we'll search for sequence and then choose email sequence. So if any other field gets updated, this Zap doesn't run. And then we can do an item update trigger type. And now we have to pull in some example data. So we'll click Pull in Samples. And then we'll go back to Podio and then make an update to one of the existing subscriber leads. I'm changing it to Not Motivated. So if we go back to Zapier now, we'll wait for the Zap to pick that up, that change up. Sometimes this takes a minute, sometimes it goes real quick. In this case, it's not too bad. When you see this, you're good to go. So we'll hit Continue. Now we'll add the step to remove the existing tags for the sequence. And we'll do that by using a Code by Zapier action. And here we'll select Run Python. So you'll be using Python code. And then for the input data, we need to enter a variable email and then select the email address field from your Podio trigger. So we'll type in email for search. And then select the email address field. Now after this, we need to enter in the code. We can cut and paste that from the tutorial. I'll drag that over here for you so you can see it. And this area right here is what we need to cut and paste. I'll highlight, copy, and we'll highlight the existing text and paste over it. Now we have to do a couple things. We have to add in your API secret for ConvertKit in this spot here where I highlighted. So we have to go to ConvertKit, go to your account settings, and then right at the top here we'll see a spot that says API secret and it's hidden, so we have to click Show, and then we'll highlight that, copy that, and bring that back over to your Zapier Zap and paste that in to this area. And make sure this is surrounded by a single quote. Now the next items we have to update or change are the tag IDs for 1, 2, and 3, the 3 different tags that we've created in ConvertKit. We can go into our Podio setup since we already did this one time and just pull these in. So I'm taking the first one here for the new Podio lead tag. And now I'm going to go get the second one for the Not Motivated tag, 783183. These will be different for you, of course, because your ConvertKit account's different than mine. And then the last one, the Sell House Quickly Info, 783185. Now this should be all set, and we can hit Continue and then run a test. So we'll scroll down a little bit further. and click the Send Test to Code by Zapier. So what this does is this uses the ConvertKit API to go in and remove the tags that are already in the account. So we check our subscribers, and the new subscriber that we've been working with, the test one. In mine, it's the Some Property subscriber. And if we scroll down, we'll see that there are no tags existing anymore. Okay, next, we're going to use the Formatter by Zapier. To pull out the tag ID of the one we've selected in Podio. So we'll click Text Type for Formatter. Transform will be Extract a Number. Now for the input, we'll use the Choose Email Sequence field value. So we'll search for sequence and then pick the text value. Click Continue. Then we'll test it out. And you can see here we pull out the proper tag ID of the one we've selected. So next we'll add a step, and this step will add the tag to the subscriber. So we'll use a ConvertKit action, add tag to subscriber, select the ConvertKit connection, give it a test, and save and continue. And now we'll add the tag. Since we're not going to add a specific tag, we're going to add one that's been selected. We'll use custom value. And then for the custom value for tag, we'll take step number 3's output, which will be the tag ID that we just filled out. And now we have to select the email address. So we'll use the email address of the triggering item, number 1. So we'll search for email and then select the email address value right there. Now that's all we need for this step, so we can scroll down, hit continue, and now test this out. We can go to ConvertKit, refresh the page for the subscriber, and now we'll see that the tag is shown that we've just selected the new tag. Now the next step will be to use a formatter action to create a date parameter, a date value for our log that we're going to use to update Podio. So select formatter, date time, save and continue. Transform type will be format. Value will be, you'll need to cut and paste the current date and time variable, which will be right here. So you can copy, paste that in. You can see the field token recognizes what that is and then adds it. Now for the format, we're going to use a custom value. As in, for the custom value, we'll use YYY for year, -MM for date, -DD for day, hours, HH, MM, and SS for hours, minutes, seconds, and A for PM, AM. Case matters in that case. And for the 2 time zone, I'm going to use Eastern. Wherever you are, you can use that time zone. And for the last 2 fields, we'll leave them blank. Now we'll continue, and then we'll test this out. And we get the right format. So then we can have one more step to add, and that will be the update Podio, the log field. So we'll say action search, Podio app, update item, save continue, select the Podio connection that we've been using, save and continue. And now we'll select our org, workspace, and application. So struggling investor, SI lead manager tutorial, and properties for me. And now we have to use a custom value so we can supply the item ID. And then we'll use the item ID from the trigger, which is step 1. So we'll type in for the search item ID. And that should bring it up for us. Select it. And now for the address, any required field, you have to repopulate that field with the triggering item and use the address field from there. So we'll search for address, use the formatted address. And then for email, we have to, some reason we have to supply that or else it deletes it, probably because the email type is defaulted and we can't remove it. So then it deletes. So we just put in email here, select that email address, and then we should be okay. Now we'll update the log. So I have some code here that you can cut and paste. So copy that and then paste that into the field here. And now we'll see the blank data tokens here that say no data, and we have to replace those. This first one is going to be the value of what's currently in the log field. So the trigger item will use the log field. So I'll search for log to find it easier. It should be come up here, ConvertKit log, and then they'll pull that data in, and then we'll add to it. So this first field here, this next field is the date. So we'll go to step number 5 that we have the formatted date and select the output. And now in the next field, we'll put the tag ID and the tag name that we pulling in from Podio as well that we've selected. So I'm taking sequence and choosing that sequence, choose email sequence value, the new value that was selected. And then that is all set. We just have to scroll down and hit continue, and then we can test it out. So now hit send test to Podio. And now go over to Podio and check it out. Or in this case, we'll finish up first. Check out Podio. See the new line in the log that we've changed it to not motivated. That's good. And now we give the Zap a name. I'm going to call it update email sequence. And then we'll turn this Zap on. And now we're all set. If you have any questions or comments or issues, leave me a comment below or send me an email at scott@strugglinginvestor.com.